Hello and welcome to the Fluent English podcast. My name is Mia and I'm so happy you're here today. In this episode, we will practice travel English. Simple and useful sentences for tourists and travelers. You will learn how to speak English at the airport, hotel, restaurant, taxi, and tourist places. I will speak slowly and clearly. You can listen, repeat, and shadow after me. This lesson will help you speak confidently when you travel to an English-speaking country. So relax, get comfortable, and let's begin our journey. Part 1. At the airport. I am at the airport. I have my passport and ticket. I am checking in for my flight. I walk to the check-in counter. The airline staff smiles at me. Staff: Good morning. Where are you flying today? You: Good morning. I'm flying to London. The staff asks for my passport. I give my passport and ticket. She says, Do you have any luggage to check in? I say, Yes, one suitcase. She puts a tag on my bag. She says, Here is your boarding pass. I say, Thank you very much. She smiles and says, Have a nice flight. I say, Thank you. You too. I go to the security check. I take out my laptop and liquids. I put my bag on the belt. I walk through the scanner. Everything is okay. I collect my things and move to the gate. I wait near the gate. I look at the flight board. My flight is on time. I buy a bottle of water. I listen to the announcement. Now boarding flight 236 to London. I show my boarding pass. I walk through the gate. I find my seat on the airplane. I put my bag in the overhead bin. I sit down, buckle my seatbelt, and smile. Part 2. On the airplane. The flight attendant says, Good afternoon. Welcome on board. I smile and say, Thank you. I sit by the window. The airplane starts moving. The pilot says, We are ready for takeoff. I feel the airplane go up into the sky. I look out the window and see the clouds. It's beautiful. The flight is smooth and quiet. The flight attendant says, Would you like something to drink? I say, Yes, please. Can I have some orange juice? She says, Of course. I say, Thank you. Later, she says, Would you like lunch? I say, Yes, please. What do you have? She says, Chicken or vegetarian? I say, Vegetarian, please. The food smells nice. I eat slowly and enjoy my meal. After lunch, I listen to music and relax. I close my eyes and rest. Part 3. Arriving at the destination. The pilot says, We are now landing in London. I look out the window and see the city below. The plane touches the ground. Everyone claps softly. I smile. I have arrived. I wait for my turn to leave the airplane. I thank the flight attendants. I walk to the immigration area. The officer says, "Good afternoon. Can I see your passport?" I give my passport. He asks, "What is the purpose of your visit?" I say, "I'm here on vacation." He asks, "How long will you stay?" I say, 2 weeks. He says, "Enjoy your stay." I say, "Thank you." I collect my suitcase at the baggage claim. I check that it's mine. I walk to the exit. Part 4, Taking a Taxi. I see a line of taxis outside the airport. I walk to the taxi stand. The driver says, "Where to?" I say, "To the city hotel, please." He says, "Sure." Please get in. I put my suitcase in the trunk. I sit in the back seat. I say, "How long will it take?" He says, "About 30 minutes." I say, "Okay, thank you." The taxi moves through the city. I look at the buildings and people. Everything feels new and exciting. The driver said, "Is this your first time here?" I say, "Yes, it's my first visit." He says, "You'll love this city." I smile and say, "I'm sure I will." We reach the hotel. I say, "How much is it?" He says, £25. I pay and say, "Thank you very much." He says, "Have a great stay." Part 5, Checking into a hotel. I walk into the hotel lobby. I see the reception desk. I smile and say, "Hello, I have a reservation." The receptionist says, "Welcome. What's your name?" I say, "My name is Mia Brown." She checks the computer. She says, "Yes, Miss Brown. You have a room for 2 nights." I say, "That's correct." She says, "Can I see your passport, please?" I give her my passport. She says, "Thank you. Here is your room key." I say, "Thank you very much." She says, "Your room is on the 5th floor. Breakfast is from 7 to 10 in the morning." I say, "Perfect. Thank you." I take the elevator to my room. I open the door with the key card. The room is clean and bright. I put my suitcase down. I look at the view from the window. I say softly, "Wow, what a beautiful city." Part 6, Eating at a restaurant. In the evening, I go out for dinner. I find a nice restaurant near my hotel. The waiter says, "Good evening. Table for 1?" I say, "Yes, please." He shows me to my table. I look at the menu. I say, "Can I have some water, please?" He says, "Of course." I order my food. I say, I'd like a salad and some pasta, please. The waiter says, would you like anything to drink? I say, yes, a glass of juice, please. After a few minutes, my food arrives. I say, thank you. It looks delicious. I eat slowly and enjoy every bite. The restaurant is quiet and comfortable. After finishing, I say, can I have the bill, please? The waiter brings it and smiles. I say, thank you. The food was wonderful. He says, I'm glad you liked it. Have a good evening. Part 7. Sightseeing and Tourist Places. The next day, I go sightseeing. I visit famous places in the city. I go to the museum first. I buy a ticket at the entrance. The staff says, welcome. The museum opens until 6 p.m. I say, thank you. I walk through the art gallery. I see beautiful paintings. I take photos quietly. I read about the artists. I learn something new. After that, I visit a park. The weather is nice. I see families, children, and tourists. I buy an ice cream and sit on a bench. I take a deep breath and smile. Later, I visit a famous monument. I listen to the guide explain the history. The guide speaks clearly. I learn many interesting facts. Part 8. Shopping. I go shopping in the afternoon. The streets are full of stores. I go into a souvenir shop. I say, hello? How much is this keychain? The shopkeeper says, it's £5. I say, can I have 2, please? She says, sure. I pay and say, thank you. She says, have a nice day. I also buy a t-shirt that says, I love London. It's a nice memory from my trip. Part 9. Using public transport. The next day, I take the train. I ask, excuse me, where is the ticket machine? A man says, it's right over there. I say, thank you. I buy a ticket and wait on the platform. The train arrives on time. I get on and find a seat. I look out the window. The view is beautiful. Fields, houses, and trees. A voice says, next station, Central Park. I get off at my stop. Part 10. Talking to locals. I go to a coffee shop. I order a cappuccino. The barista smiles and says, to go or for here? I say, for here, please. I sit near the window. A friendly person sits next to me. They say, where are you from? I say, I'm from India. They say, welcome. How do you like our city? I say, it's beautiful. People are so kind. They smile and say, enjoy your trip. I say, thank you. Part 11. Back at the hotel. I return to the hotel in the evening. The receptionist says, "Good evening. How was your day?" I say, "It was wonderful. I saw many places." She says, "I'm glad you enjoyed it." I take the elevator to my room. I take a shower and relax. I look at my photos from the day. I smile and feel thankful. Part 12. Useful Travel Expressions. Excuse me, where is the bus stop? How much is the ticket? What time does the train leave? Can you help me, please? I'm looking for this address. How far is it from here? Can I pay by card? Do you have Wi-Fi here? Can I get a map, please? I'd like to make a reservation. Can I have some water? This food is delicious. What's the best place to visit nearby? Can you take a picture of me, please? Thank you for your help. Part 13. Last day of travel. Today is my last day of the trip. I feel a little sad but happy. I walk around the city one more time. I buy a small gift for my family. I pack my suitcase. I check my passport and ticket again. I say goodbye to the hotel staff. They say, "We hope to see you again." I smile and say, "Thank you. I will come back." I take a taxi to the airport. I check in for my flight home. I look out the window as the airplane takes off. I whisper, "Goodbye, London." I feel thankful for this amazing trip. Part 14. At the airport, departure home. I arrive at the airport early. The taxi driver helps me with my suitcase. I say, "Thank you for the ride." He smiles and says, "Have a safe flight." I walk into the airport. It's busy, but everything is well organized. I check the screen for my flight number. It says, Flight 204, on time. I feel happy and calm. I walk to the check-in counter. The staff says, "Good evening. Where are you flying today?" I say, "I'm flying to New Delhi." She says, "May I see your passport and ticket, please?" I give her both. She smiles and says, "Thank you." "Do you have any bags to check in?" I say yes, one suitcase. She puts a tag on my bag and hands me my boarding pass. I say, "Thank you." She says, "You're welcome. Have a pleasant flight." I go to the security area. I take off my jacket and shoes. I put my phone and laptop in a tray. The officer says, "You can go." I say, "Thank you." I walk to the gate. I see people waiting quietly. Some are reading. Some are listening to music. I buy a bottle of water and a small snack. I sit near the window and watch airplanes taking off. I feel thankful for my trip. I think about all the people I met. I look at my souvenirs and smile. An announcement says, "Now boarding flight 204 to New Delhi." I stand up, show my passport, and walk to the airplane. The flight attendant greets me with a warm smile. I say, "Hello." She says, "Welcome on board." I find my seat near the window. I put my bag in the overhead bin. I sit down and fasten my seatbelt. The pilot says, "We will take off in 10 minutes. I look outside. The lights of the airport look beautiful. The airplane begins to move. Slowly. It rises into the sky. I whisper, "Goodbye, London." Thank you for listening to the Fluent English podcast with Mia. Today, you learned travel English for tourists and travelers. Sentences, conversations, and real-life examples for your next trip. You practiced English for airports, hotels, taxis, restaurants, shopping, sightseeing, and even flying home. Every part helps you speak English more confidently when you travel. Remember, listen again, repeat after me, and use these sentences in your real life. Every time you travel, your English will sound more natural and fluent. I hope this episode inspired you to explore the world with confidence. This is Mia saying, keep learning, keep smiling, and keep speaking English with love. See you in the next episode of Fluent English Podcast. Goodbye and safe travels.